Hemingway Memorial, Ketchum, Idaho. This is Hemingway Memorial Park. And Hemingway loved this area. I was reading up a little bit on Hemingway, and he loved Idaho. He loved Idaho, I think, because it reminded him of his time in Spain. And Hemingway, this was where Hemingway spent the last years of his life. And we're going to see if we can't find where Hemingway's resting place is. But this actually is it's a park, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just beautiful. You can see, you know, there's no reason why you can't see how you know, this was one of Hemingway's favorite spots on earth. So we're going to take a walk inside the park, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that there is a statue, and I can see it from here. There's a statue of Hemingway right down here, a memorial, if you will. So let's go down and take a look at the memorial for Ernest Hemingway, and then we'll go see if we can't find his final resting place. So here it is right here. Look at this. I'll be darned. You can see that right there. Best of all, he loved the fall. The leaves yellow on the cottonwoods, leaves floating on the trout streams, and above the hills, the high blue, wild, windless skies. Now he will be a part of them forever. Ernest Hemingway, Idaho, 1939, it says. So it is a really, really special thing to be here. And it is what a beautiful park. I'm going to take a walk down here. There's a stream coming down through the park here. I actually see a couple streams. So here is one stream, and then there's a stream just down there as well. You can see that. Absolutely a beautiful place. And here would be, here's the memorial right here. Give you a nice view of that. Look at that. Here is the memorial to the one and only Ernest Hemingway. And they have a sculpture of Mr. Hemingway here. You can see that. There's the sculpture. Is that really something or what? All right. So let's go see if we can't find. We'll go see if we can't find Ernest Hemingway's final resting place. I believe he's buried in the cemetery in Ketchum, Idaho. And if you look down there, you can see a deer coming down to the river, perhaps to get a drink off there in the distance. See a beautiful golf course. Just a beautiful, beautiful spot. Just gorgeous. And we have the park to ourselves, interestingly enough. Well, ourselves, to include the deer down there. Just beautiful. All right, let's go see if we can't find the final resting place of Mr. Hemingway. And here would be Ketchum Cemetery, where Ernest Hemingway lays to rest. So it is really it's a beautiful, beautiful day. And this cemetery, from the looks of it, is a rather small cemetery here in Ketchum, Idaho. And considering that Ketchum is a town of only, I think, a few thousand people, it would stand to reason that the cemetery would be relatively small. But let's go and see if we can find Mr. Hemingway's final resting place here in beautiful Ketchum, Idaho. It wasn't hard to find Mr. Hemingway's grave. You just look for the collection of, well, whiskey bottles and what have you. I think this is probably the only grave in Ketchum graveyard or cemetery that the grave has whiskey bottles on it. But there you have it, folks. Look at that. The one and only Ernest Miller Hemingway, July 21st, 1899 to July 2nd, 1961. And you can see where people have left coins on the grave. Look at that. There it is. See? Ernest Miller Hemingway, July 21st, 1989, or July 21st, 1899, July 2nd, 1961. And you can see people come, and there's a peacock feather. Somebody left a fishing lure. You can see there's a fishing lure, there's a pen. I see some guitar picks. There is the maker's mark. You can see the whiskey, cigarette. So there you have it. Rest in peace, Ernest Miller Hemingway. What a wonderful opportunity to visit and pay respect to one of the greatest authors of all time, laid to rest here in Ketchum, Idaho. And here is here's the grave. It's a grave, the cemetery. It's a rather small cemetery, but oh boy, it is a beautiful spot on this earth. So lay to rest, Mr. Hemingway. And then just off to his left is the grave of Mary Welsh Hemingway, who passed away in 1986, born in 1908. I would assume that would have been his wife. And then over here we have John H.N. Hemingway, born in 23, died in 2000. And off here you have Angela Hove Hemingway, born May 13th, 1948. And I don't see so she must still be alive. Interesting. Okay, well there you have it, folks. Ernest Hemingway, Ketchum, Idaho.